Hi everybody! Today we're going to see how I draw Batman Beyond. Okay, pencils first and then Sharpies. So if you don't want to watch the pencil portion of the video where I sketch the entire thing out, look in the description and you'll find a link that you can click on that will take you to the Sharpie portion of the video. I'll even include one for color. But for those of you that are going to stick around, I'm going to start off with a quick sketch for myself and get us going. Alright, this one's going to be fun and a little challenging because I'm going by a animated cartoon that's very minimal. And the reason they do that, I mean, it looks really cool, but the reason they do that is because less lines to draw. You can't, because each one of them's got to be drawn by hand, it's easier to minimize the amount of lines that you're adding, So the challenge is, how do I translate that into this, into doing it real, and still keeping the Batman Beyond motif, because there's even more to it than that, because it's very minimal in the coloring too. Like, it's mostly black and like the outer edges are what's color, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to just do it all black. I want to give them a little bit of detail and give you something to draw, so to speak. But I also want to keep it like that. So, like I said, it's a challenge to try to figure out which I want to do, So I think he's going to be flying. I've already decided on that. I think I'm going to kind of do a little mix of both. Okay, so sorry if I get a little quiet. I'm going to concentrate a little bit to try to get the look right, because I also want to try to give him wings, right? Let's see if I can get a good look at the wings he's got, because they kind of follow his arms. Now that'll give us also like a cool contrast for coloring. Alright. Oh, you know what else I almost forgot? Oof. The points in his arm. But for the most part, though, this is going to be a study in anatomy, because, again, it's going to be so basic that it's going to be following as if he was wearing a bodysuit. I'm going to be doing anatomy, following muscle structure, but over a suit kind of thing. Okay, and it's also very specific on his face too. Like, it's got a certain shading to it that let me see how I can do this. Let's see. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. But it's got a very specific shading that only it's very minimal, I guess is what I'm trying to say, kind of like the body, that it's very minimal in what it shows. And as far as color and here we go, let's just do that. That way whenever I color it, that'll give me a little bit of an option. Alright, so here we go. Let's do the wings, or the chest piece. And then we'll get going. So we're almost there. That's also the nice thing about this design too, is it's minimal and it's quick. Alright. Okay, so let's. Ooh, you know what I almost forgot? Oof. Very important. The reason it's very important because there's not a lot I can do here, so I have to give all the detail I can where I can. And the belt's very I want to say minimal again. I just keep saying that so many times. The belt is very specific that if I can only draw so many things, well then I better get it in there, because it's all I get to draw, you know? We're going to give them boots. Again, it's very minimal. And in their design, in their style, it's not really there. You can't see the boots. But again, I'm kind of thinking also like as if it was a real costume. Like maybe a movie, you know? That it wouldn't be just one piece. It would be an outfit. Okay. Okay, so let me just finish up drawing these fingers real quick and we'll get going. I'm going to erase a lot of this because it's total sketch. Now I don't need that. I just need the confidence lines. So I'm going to erase with the long fingers. I'm going to erase those fingers is what I'm going to do. I'm going to erase the sketch lines and leave just confidence lines. There we go. That'll work. Okay. All right. I think that's going to work. I just got to make a few more decisions for the face. Like, what am I going to do? Okay. No, I'll figure it out. Okay. So here we go. So, again, like I said, I'm going to erase the sketch lines, leave me the thicker confidence lines to guide me with my Sharpie. Switch over and welcome everybody that skipped over to that portion. And if you're working with pencil, you just get darker. You just start drawing a lot, applying more pressure. Me, I want the Sharpie to stand out, so I'm going to erase those pencil lines, but leave a small ghost of an image that I usually make with a special computer. Leave a small ghost of an image that I can follow with my Sharpie. Alright, I think that's good. Okay, so there we go. So, welcome skippers, welcome to the Sharpie portion of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe because I do a drawing every day. You can join along and have some fun. I'm going to be working with the Sharpie fine point and the Sharpie pen, mostly a fine point, but depends a little finer than the fine point. You can find the things that a fine point can't quite find. So, I've sketched the entire thing out. I've erased a majority of these sketch lines, and what's left are the confidence lines I'm going to be drawing over, and it's going to guide me with my Sharpie. It's going to guide me for my Sharpie. So I'm going to start off with this Sharpie pen just to draw a few of the tiny details, like the features of the face, and go from there. And I've got him kind of a jumping, flying, soaring type kind of pose. So I talked about this in the sketch that there's only so many lines I'm going to be able to put down because it's very minimal for what they did, and I love that. So I'm trying to bring over realism plus the cartoon look to this character, and then we'll color it later with all the blacks and the minimal color looking style. Okay, so for the eyes, I'm going to go ahead and draw his beady bat eyes like this. Okay, and again, I've sketched this out so I know exactly where I'm putting them. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and give him a nose, and again, we'll worry about the color later. And I'm going to go ahead and draw this for the nose. Again, keeping it very minimal. And basically that's the side of the nose is what we're kind of going for here. So after that, I got to keep it very minimal for the look. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw some lines here just to represent his face, and then I'm going to come back later and color that in. So it'll help me to place what I want to place for his face. And again, it's just giving me some minimal lines to play with, and now I can design the rest of the face with the bigger Sharpie. Okay. Again, I'll worry about color later. This is just to keep it very minimal for what we're doing. So I'm going to draw the side of his head. Going to keep going, and I want his ears to kind of work with the edges of his head. So I'm going to go ahead and draw. Let's draw his chin. So we'll go ahead and make a defining point here. Going to bring it back up here like this. I'm going to go all the way up to his ear. Like that, give it a point, come back down. So I want it kind of out like that. That's kind of what I'm going for here. So I'm going to draw the side of his face here. I'm going to draw the head, and then I'm going to draw the ear. So basically I just got to remember that it's going out like that whenever I do it. Okay. That'll let me go up here like this, bring it to a point, come down like that. Alright, so now again I'm going to keep it very minimal, but also remember that it's a costume. So I'm going to draw his neck like this, draw his shoulder, and again I'm going to draw places where there's going to be creases and folds. Shoulder in like that, and that'll just kind of give you a guide of where we're going with this. And I'm going to work this arm out and this one bent. Okay, so this one's kind of flying. There's the bicep to the elbow. And I'm going to give him like gloves and shoes too. So I'm going to draw a little bump for where the glove is. Come across for the wrist. Again, that's where the glove is going to be. Let's do this. I'm going to try this out first. And if it doesn't work, I can always go back with the big Sharpie. But I'm going to try his little bat points, what are they called? Spikes, with this Sharpie, just to see if I can come up with a stylized look that making them nice and subtle. Like I said, if I don't like it ultimately, I can just redo this with a big Sharpie, but I might as well try it, right? Just to keep it nice and light. Like that. I like it. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and draw some of his arm to show you where we are. So here's his rib cage. Here's his shoulder, to the bicep, forearm, to the glove, like that. Bring it into the wrist. Going to have some creases and folds like that right there. And his hand is pretty much, you're going to see the side of it. That's all you're going to see. It's very minimal, very side. Okay, so there's the thumb, like that. There's the hand, top of the hand. I'm going to do the ring, the index finger. Sorry, not the ring finger. There's the pointer finger. And you can't really see the rest because of the way his hand is facing. So I'm going to Add just a little bit of extra detail like that. I'm going to add some creases and folds to where his glove would be. I'm going to go ahead and add a glove. And remember, again, a lot of this is going to get covered up by color, so don't worry too much about if it's too many lines. Okay? I just want to show that it is a material. It is cloth. Okay? Let's see. So, let's draw a wing. Let's go ahead and do it with this Sharpie since we're here. I'm going to draw to a point right here. And then I'm going to bring that point up to his wrist. Draw from the armpit to that. And there. I just want to keep it nice and subtle too. Kind of like those. Pretty much everything in his costume is going to be subtle because it's supposed to be like that animated style that's very minimal. Okay, so I'm going to draw his chest, and his stomach is crunched a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and draw his chest to show you where we are. Like this. And again, that's his stomach that's going to be crunched up to his waist pushing forward a little bit. Let's go ahead and draw this arm, then I'll worry about that center in a second. So I'm going to come down here for the bicep. Going to give him a big old strong bicep. Big old bat bicep. And we're going to do the same thing here, just a subtle bump for the glove, and then accent it like we did there. So there's his elbow. There's the subtle bump, because this one's bent in like that. There's his wrist, like that. I'll add the extras with the tiny detail in a second. Let's go ahead and finish up what we're doing here with this. So I'm going to draw his wrist. So there's his hand. There's the thumb. And let's do the pinky. The ring finger. Oops, kind of a weird point. Middle finger. And index finger. Okay, so let's go ahead and clean some of this up, or define it, I guess. Not really clean it up. And I'm just kind of adding some extra lines because that's, his glove. Obviously it has some bend in it, some give. We'll go ahead and add that little detail I was talking about there, that little subtle glove look. Again, I'm going to add some creases just because I can, because again, I know it's a material. And let's do one right here like that because it's all bent. Again, once we color it, a lot of that's going to disappear, so we'll see what works. Okay, so that's just the bumps. Let's go ahead and do his emblem on his chest, and I've already sketched it out, so I'm just going to basically draw what I've sketched. So I'm going to draw his, get a good picture of it to make sure I got it right. His ears coming down like this. And we're going to draw it out to points out here, to this point out here, like that. And it's going to come to 3 different points, right? We're going to have one here, here, and there. And then we just kind of curve it just a little bit. Well, I did a lot. Curve it a little bit. And then same thing here. Curve it towards the top. Like that. Okay? So, there we go. Now, for his belt, let's see, should I do it with, yeah, I'm going to try it with a thinner Sharpie. And, ooh, I'm going to draw a wing right there, too. Let me do that before I forget. So this one, it's extended, but he's got his hand in, so it kind of is hidden. So I'm going to draw a line to there. And then it would fall back, like, to his wrist, but because it's not extended, we're only going to see it hiding behind his arm. So we're going to pretend that it follows that, but that's all we're going to do for that. Let's go ahead and try it with the Sharpie, the Sharpie pen. And if you're working with pencil, just draw it lighter, or you don't have to worry about thick and thin if you're working with pencil, right? Ooh, let's do this. Add some muscular detail, right? But yeah, so basically it's just a couple of circles. So we're going to do one in the center like that. Do another one around it. And it's okay if it doesn't come out perfect. It's no big deal. Then another one around that. All right. Awesome. Now, for his belt, all it really is a couple of rectangles. And I've positioned mine like the way his body is bent. So they're going to go a specific way. And like I said, it's just because I've got him kind of crunched at the abs right there. There you go. All right. And I'm also going to connect it right there, just so I don't accidentally hit it with the big Sharpie. There we go. All right, so now we're just going to draw some legs. And again, like we did up here, I'm going to consider it a material, even though it's just like all it is, just solid, piece in the cartoon, right? So I'm going to draw this one leg bent up. There's the knee like that. There's the other part of the leg coming in like this to the crotch. Now, because he's all hunched over, I am going to add just a little bit of creases and folds right there, because that's how his costume would be bunched up if his leg was extended like that, or bunged up. There's his knee. And I'm going to do the same thing like I did there. I'm going to add just a tiny bump for the boots and add a highlight with the thinner Sharpie. Okay, so I'm going to come down here for the boot. Add some places where the creases and folds are going to be. This one you're looking at the top of the foot. This one you're looking at the side of the foot. So basically I'm drawing a toe like that. I'll add some detail there in a second. This one we're going to come down here to about there for the boot. About there for the boot. We're going to come down, and this one's going to have a real crunch to the heel because I've got it pointed down. Like this. That makes sense? Awesome. Alright, so now let's add some detail and make it our own. So, again, I've got him kind of spread out here with some creases too. I just keep getting thicker and thicker with that. I don't mean to. With some stress lines to his material, because I've got his legs all crunched up like that. Alright. Do some more right here, because again, it's all stressed. Go ahead and add that boot edge. I'm going to thicken these up just a hair. That one I went too bumpy there. Okay, so same thing, let's add this one. And again, I'm going to add just some stress to that material. Like that. Same thing for the boot. Gonna add that for the boot. Here. Gonna add something like this. There we go. Okay, so the last thing I need to do is add those little points. I can't remember what we ended up calling them to finish this up, and I'm just going to keep it subtle like that. I'm just going to do one like this, one more like this, and there we go. So that's it. I say we take care of the rest with color. So that is Batman Beyond. So here is my colored version. You could do it however you like. I just thought I'd show you how I decided to color it. If you'd like to color it like this, you can always pause the video here and use the coloring techniques that I used, or you can just make it your own. Remember, this is how I draw. You draw how you draw. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more adventures of how I draw. Plus, don't forget to hit that notification button to be updated about each new video.